and victories earned in the crucible of conflict. To the proud council members, he was little more than a relic of an age long past, an anachronism whose very existence seemed to defy the forward march of progress they so fervently celebrated. The air grew heavy with disdain as murmurs began to ripple through the assembly at the sight of the solitary human. Whispers, sharp and dismissive, drifted like cold winds among the crowd. The council's members exchanged knowing smiles and curt, derisive remarks, their voices a symphony of scorn aimed at this living vestige of a time when valor was measured on the battlefield rather than in the polished halls of diplomacy. They ridiculed his unadorned appearance and his quiet, steady demeanor, a stark departure from the flamboyant displays of brilliance that characterized their own kind. Every sneer, every casual laugh, served as a pointed reminder that they saw him as a symbol of obsolescence, a quaint remnant of a world that had long since surrendered its relevance. Yet, as the barbs of mockery were hurled and the laughter of the highborn echoed across the hall, the old human's gaze remained unflinching. There was an unmistakable glint in his eyes, a silent testament to the battles he had fought, the hardships he had borne, and the unyielding spirit that had seen him through the darkest hours of conflict. In that quiet, resolute stare lay a promise, a vow that no amount of ridicule could diminish the legacy of a life forged in the crucible of war. His demeanor, calm and measured, spoke of experiences that transcended the shallow confines of this pompous gathering, of sacrifices that had sculpted a character far more formidable than any of the council's ornate displays. Every dismissive remark from the council only served to underscore the stark contrast between the superficial bravado of these cosmic elites and the deep, enduring strength of a soul tempered by relentless trials. The laughter that rippled through the assembly, intended to belittle and deride, instead highlighted the chasm between fleeting arrogance and timeless resilience. There was a quiet power in his stillness, a silent defiance that challenged the very assumptions of the gathered dignitaries. His presence reminded all who witnessed it that true greatness was not measured by the glitter of advanced technology, or the opulence of ceremonial garb, but by the scars earned in the furnace of adversity, and the quiet dignity that follows in the wake of hardship. Even as the voices of contempt swirled around him, the old human maintained an aura of unyielding composure. His eyes, deep and unwavering, held stories of distant battles and hard-won victories, each memory a silent rebuke to the arrogance that now sought to diminish him. There was no flash of anger or desperate cry for retribution in his gaze, only a profound calm, as if he had already reconciled himself with the burdens of his past. To those who observed him, it was clear that his life had been one of sacrifice and relentless perseverance, a living archive of the cost of freedom and the honor of struggle. Each line on his weathered face, each quiet breath he took, was a testament to the indomitable spirit that had carried him through innumerable trials. The derisive laughter and dismissive murmurs of the council, intended to belittle his very existence, instead illuminated the incongruity of their arrogance. For in that singular moment of collective scorn, the old human embodied a truth that the assembled elites could scarcely comprehend, that the measure of worth is not found in outward adornments or technological marvels, but in the quiet, steadfast heart that endures beyond the transient accolades of power. His silent defiance, etched in the calm intensity of his gaze, served as a counterpoint to the hollow bravado that permeated the chamber. It was a living reminder that beneath the veneer of superiority lay a depth of experience and resilience that no amount of mockery could ever erase. In the charged stillness that followed each sneering remark, there emerged an unspoken narrative, a narrative that spoke of battles fought in the far reaches of war-torn worlds, of comrades lost and honor reclaimed in the heat of conflict. It was a story that transcended the boundaries of time and space, one that challenged the very foundations upon which the council's arrogance was built. The old human, with his quiet, unyielding presence, was more than a relic of a bygone era. He was a testament to the enduring strength of a people who had weathered storms that no celestial ceremony could ever hope to encapsulate. Every dismissive laugh, every pointed remark, became a silent incitement, a spark that hinted at the impending shift in power and perception that would one day shake the very core of this hallowed hall. In the face of condescension, his calm remained unbroken, a beacon of stoic resilience that promised to defy the very logic of superiority. The murmurs of derision, meant to isolate and demean, instead highlighted the inherent truth that genuine power is forged not in the accolades of the elite, but in the quiet fortitude of those who have known true hardship. And so, as the council's scornful words echoed through the vast chamber, the old human stood resolute, a silent herald of a legacy that was destined to challenge the arrogance of even the most powerful among them. Thus, in that moment of collective derision, the stage was subtly set for a confrontation that would eventually ripple across the cosmos, reshaping the very understanding of honor and strength. The old human's unwavering gaze and quiet dignity served as a reminder that while the glitter of advanced technology and the pomp of ceremonial grandeur may dazzle the eye, they pale in comparison to the enduring spirit that rises from the crucible of adversity. Every dismissive remark, every sneer, only deepened the contrast between transient arrogance and eternal valor, a contrast that promised to be the spark for a transformation yet to come. In the grand tapestry of this interstellar gathering, where pride and prejudice had woven a narrative of inevitable superiority, the unyielding presence of one weathered soul quietly defied the prevailing order. His calm and measured demeanor spoke of a legacy far richer than any monument of technological splendor could ever capture. With each breath and each resolute glance, he challenged the council's narrative, a living reminder that true strength is not dictated by the accolades of the moment, but is instead carved in the annals of sacrifice and perseverance.
Drawing on decades like relentless combat, drawing him into a realm where the trials of artillery,
to a precise calculation of comrades resonated in the quiet his mind reflection and determination. Recharting there emerged the steadfast resolve that the council promised to honor every sacrifice made. With every life lost in he identified weak notes with this battlefield kindled in the crucible of a barrage of explosive testament to the despairing nature of the human and the relentless pounding of war drums. Every circuit across its every energy and uncertainty, every control carried was mapped to remember the fierce determination that had driven him continued to guide the instinctive order that had sustained them even as the world around them repurposed what others dismissed as obsolete equipment. Every step on the blood devices of unassuming glance exchanged with the brother in arms had been his careful planning to protect. He knew that the disruption of a single critical system could ignite in the heart of the maelstrom. Failures. He had been more than a fracturing the council's. He was a guardian of ideas. A bulwark against the encroaching darkness that sought to snuff out the fragile light of freedom. The silent fury the vivid memory of a pivotal moment whose tactics had been when enemy lines had surged forward like a tidal wave, with the plan firmly etched in his memory. He set his counter-strike into motion. The very notion of survival depended on the split-second decisions. His first move was to infiltrate the digital arteries that connected the council's. As he recalled the desperate rally of his unit, in a series of voices raised in unison against overwhelming odds, he introduced his improvised camaraderie forged in the crucible of combat, calibrated to emit a series of carefully timed, each act of bravery signals that would trigger a selfless breakdown or a calculated maneuver. The council's sophisticated security protocol of resilience designed to fend off a part of him as the scars were ill-equipped to counter a disruption that originated. The tumult of that battlefield was interwoven with moments as the signals cascaded through the channels. A rare, the once steady hum of control between the relentless barrage of violence. Digital displays blinked in unison before succumbing to the weight of every fallen comrade pressed upon him. Flow of communication, a heavy reminder that victory was measured not merely by strategic triumphs, his movements were economical and exact. Each action calculated to maximize that he understood the true price of war. The shattering counterattack unfolded with a relentless precision that left the irreversible transformation of those who dared to defy fate. As his devices infiltrated the faces of those the initial wave of interference spread like ripples across a symbol of sacrifice, systematically and a stark reminder of the burden carried by those who had witnessed the horrors of battle firsthand, so heavily relied upon to project the memories of bloodshed and despair threatened to overwhelm him. A steady resolve had taken root, failed, a determination to rise above the devastation and ensure that the lessons of that brutal confusion with measured urgency. In the heat of combat, the soldier within his approach discovered a wellspring of any emergency protocols the resource that had sustained him through the darkest hours. His strategy was not born of brute force, maneuver executed on that treacherous field was not of calculated diversions that masked an affirmation of a deeply held belief council's most that in the face of insurmountable odds, in each decisive moment, possessed an unparalleled veteran's every action was imbued with the confidence of one who had stared down insurmountable odds. As these recollections cascaded through his sheer will, and they stirred a quiet introspection. As the cascade of failures rippled out the immeasurable council's reaction shifted from glimmers of hope that had emerged in its wake. The dignitaries, he recognized that the scars of their technological merely physical reminders found themselves grappling with a life defined by sacrifice and their commands, once crisp and authoritative, in the silent cadence dissolved into disjointed efforts to restore control of every victory, as one by one the nodes of their network succumbed to his calculated assault. It was in this inner unwavering confidence of the Council was replaced by a frantic scramble to identify the source of the disruption, had contributed to the forging of an unbreakable resolve. Each failed memories to counter the interference further underscored the profound impact of his carefully orchestrated understanding of what it truly meant to be a soldier, chaos, and by extension, his presence became an ever-present reminder that even the most sophisticated empires could be undone by the precise application by the realization that his experiences on that ravaged battlefield was not master class in turning the tide, but living exploiting the enemy's reliance on established protocols and using their rigidity of history. As with its agonizing chapters of sacrifice and loss, the cascading collapse of systems forced the Council to confront an unanticipated reality. He recalled the moment their advanced in the midst of overwhelming chaos, long a symbol of their superiority, act of courage, was not an unspoken promise to stand firm unyielding in the face of despair, human ingenuity, had ignited a spark in rapid succession among his comrades. Digital networks faltered and command structures, though born in the crucible of violence, leaving behind had grown into a flame that defied the encroaching darkness. The old veterans calculated that would continue to guide him long after the flow of information, but had also upended the carefully maintained tumultuous echoes of the past began to recede, yielding in the midst of the ensuing confusion. Every signal in that gradual transition, every precise there emerged a profound awareness, underscored a single undeniable trials of yesterday, the strength of experience could dismantle the might of an empire. The lessons learned on bloodied fields were not the elegant choreography of his counter-strike found a powerful testament to the effectiveness of strategy over ostentatious as he stood silently on the precipice of a true power lay in the ability to adapt, no longer clashed with the present, and relentlessly pursue one's objective despite overwhelming determination that now as the Council's frantic efforts to regain control of remembrance, though heavy, there once was a cherished part of his identity began to crumble. A legacy that spoke of the digital pulses that had once been the lifeblood of their dominance, and now quiet resurgence of their vulnerability. A subtle flickering screen, a silent stirring of purpose that transcended the lingering echoes of conflict. In this maelstrom of systematic failure that had long been his solitary companion now found expression in a renewed demonstration of tactical brilliance. He understood that the battlefield maneuvers had not only neutralized key defenses, but had also sown the seeds of doubt among those who had once considered themselves untouchable. Every moment of despair overcome, the controlled chaos was a stepping stone toward reclaiming a dignity that had been unjustly dismissed by those who unable to mount an effective countermeasure against a strategy so deeply rooted in the fundamentals of warfare. There was no room for regret or bitterness. Every subsystem only a resolute under his relentless onslaught, and an unmeasured rebuke to those who had underestimated the hard-won wisdom of lived experience and resolve. This awakening was not a precise and undramatic epiphany, redefined the battlefield, inevitable realization for ostentatious displays of power, but as a domain where quiet determination and tactical acumen measured supreme. The old wounds of conflict of his counter-strike reached far beyond the immediate disruption, emboldening him to meet the future with a calm and unshakable the very core of the Council's self-assured identity. The echoes of battle had receded into the background, that charged moment of upheaval, leaving behind the old veteran's legacy clarity that illuminated the path was unmistakably affirmed. In the interplay of memory and resolve was not merely a response to scorn, unadorned truth, but a definitive declaration that even the most venerable institutions could be dismantled by the steady, even the most unrelenting force of a single, as the lingering vestiges of conflict gave way to the peasants in tatters and their control systems reduced to a series of tempered light of hard-won malfunctioning nodes. The silent order began to emerge from the ruins was now renewed with every heartbeat. The silent efficiency of his counter-strike stood as a vivid reminder that the true measure of power was not found in grandiose displays of technological might. In this resolute acceptance, adaptive spirit seed of a transformation that would redefine not only his own destiny but also the very perceptions of those calculated actions resonated as a testament to the enduring strength of human resolve, had become an inseparable part of his being, even when cloaked in the quiet dignity of a lifetime of sacrifice, could rise to challenge the greatest of adversaries.